Is it selfish or is it self-care? We all know that self-care is important, and no one wants to be perceived as being super selfish, right? So where do you draw the line? Where's that balance between taking care of others and taking care of yourself? These questions dramatically add to the stress that made self-care, the topic of self-care, be necessary to begin with.
Absolutely.
So it's madness. It's madness. Because the balance between selfishness and self-care can be pretty hard to manage.
Absolutely.
We're going to give you a short mental checklist you can go through to help figure out which one you're falling on when you have to make a decision.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is Tara and Roxanne. We are here with you today to help you calm your mind so you can enjoy your life. Our gift to you is in the comments below. It's a link for Reduce Your Stress in 1 week with 3 easy steps. So give yourself that gift this week and go do that. You'll see some immediate results. Super helpful.
Yeah.
All right, Roxanne, self-care or selfish?
Right. We're talking about
selfishness. Let's break it down.
Right? That's
selfish is
selfish is making decisions and taking actions that benefit you in some way while simultaneously hurting others.
And self-care is making decisions and taking actions that support and encourage your personal, physical being, emotional, spiritual, and financial.
So important. It
Critical
really is.
to your
and
life.
I think we all hear it and we speak it, but do we do it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's harder, right? And it's so, it's crucial. So it's necessary for you and
your loved ones and you to do for your work, for your loved ones, for your life, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Trying not to sacrifice yourself in the process.
Yes. But with those definitions, those two things intersect quite a bit. Because if you notice, they both talked about doing something for yourself is either selfish or it's self-care. So how do you know the difference? There's so many things to consider. And quite frankly, most people fall on one end of the spectrum or the other. And it's really easy to do. So before you judge somebody when you see them on one side or the other, understand that it's a really hard balance to do. And that includes judging yourself.
Don't do judging.
Because we can fall on the one side where you end up completely giving yourself to others. All of your time, energy, attention, money, everything to others. And you end up being this just bankrupt martyr. Mm-hmm. Frankly, and you're like, I'll just drag myself over and give you more. Right. In this theatrical kind of drop. Yes. Because you do end up dropping. I mean, you can't sustain that. But on the other side, you could end up neglecting people and that care about you and depend on you and your responsibilities and just skirting around all of it under the pretense of, I need to take care of myself first. And then you just end up being selfish and abusive and kind of a victim.
And didn't you say earlier when we were talking that the pendulum can actually swing both ways?
Absolutely.
So at any given time, you might be feeling or living or doing one or the other.
Unfortunately, most people were super honest, I think we've caught ourselves on different sides at different times.
Sure.
And so the key is to not judge yourself there, but to go, I'm not in balance here.
Self-correct.
And isn't balance like the ultimate goal in your whole life anyway? We're always seeking it and trying to find it, and we find ourselves a little off balance. We come back, but we cannot do that without being aware. And that's why we're having this conversation, because it's important to stop and look and notice. Because if you haven't noticed, the stress in this country right now, or probably the world, is out of control. It's more than it's ever been ever. So obviously we are not having a great time balancing that selfish and self-control.
No, I don't know.
Self-care.
If you even have had somebody in your life that you talk to on a regular basis that just pulls you down and you're going, I want to help them. I want to be there for them. I really want to help them look at the world differently. But wow, they're pulling me down, and it's So where is that line on self-care or selfishness?
How do you feel if you don't talk to them then?
Selfish.
Yeah.
And how do I feel when I say, look, I'll talk to you some other time or something. I feel self-care, but
Yeah.
selfish. But so in the beginning, when someone is learning to do these things, that's a little bit tough because you're going to grapple with these feelings until you settle in.
I think there's a few things to be mindful of when you're coming up with, when you're doing self-care. Couldn't get that out.
You got it.
Is setting boundaries. Setting
Yes.
boundaries, not from a place of frustration or anger or defensiveness, but just saying, what do I need and what kind of boundaries do I need to set? Like you said, for example, I think we all have people in our lives that push those buttons and make us feel a certain way. Usually it's a loved one or somebody we have a lot of history with and a lot of beliefs, and there's just a lot of tentacles to these things. Aren't as easy as if a stranger walked up and they were being kind of nasty to you. You'd be like, or just complaining,
Boundary.
you'd be like, well, nice to
Not
meet you,
nice, but
not
I'm done.
really. Yeah, and bye-bye. That's an easy choice
That's an easy
to
choice.
make. And that you could self-care, and you wouldn't feel selfish, but when it has more tentacles when
It
there's
does.
loved ones. So those boundaries are not selfish. That is self-care, but there's a way to go about them. So,
Absolutely.
and when we talked about our questions at the end, that we're going to ask you to repeat mentally when you're in a position of wondering what you were about to do is self-care or selfish, or what kind of trajectory you're on. Guilt will definitely come in with that one for sure.
Yes.
So, setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Now guilt.
Guilt,
Let's talk
guilt is another one. That's another one, because do we do it to ourselves? Absolutely. In the example you brought up, that is self-induced guilt,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But then other people will also try to make us feel guilty because, quite frankly, we've trained people how to treat us. And if we're in a spot right now where we're overwhelmed and we're overextended and we're just, we have no more to give, we created that environment for ourselves.
Yes.
And that is not to place blame, but it's for accountability and just recognition. Because if we've trained people around us that we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then we only do X and Y, well, guess what? They're going to try to make us feel guilty because it's easier. We've already have a pattern set up, right, with them. And they depend on us, and even though they probably could do for themselves.
They should do for themselves.
Right. But we did it for whatever reason, whether we needed to feel needed or we needed that adulation from them, whatever that looks like, we did what we did, and here we are.
Right.
So, but don't allow yourself to be manipulated. Just go, I see why you feel that way, and I'm sorry for creating this mess, and here's what I'm going to do in my part to solve it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I like that.
And just make sure that you're not resenting that dependency because you did create it. So I just want to say that a little bit because it's so easy to look at somebody and go, oh my gosh, you don't do anything for yourself. I can't stand it. I have to do everything in this house. Well, who created that, right? So we don't want to get super resentful to them because it's not their fault.
You used a word in this when we were talking before, and that was respect. When you're doing this and changing how you're handling things because you're taking care of yourself, do it with the utmost respect for those people around you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So here's a few mental questions, mental questions, that's not new.
It's kind of a checklist of questions.
Yes, here's a few questions that you ask mentally. They're
That's
not mental
true.
questions.
Got to use it up there.
Oh, or you can write them down if you want to, but just do a quick little filter. When you're wondering, am I being selfish here, or am I, is this just self-care? And one would be, are the people that I'm responsible for directly responsible for, not the people that want me to be responsible for.
Big difference.
That's the difference. Like your kids or anybody that you're sharing living quarters with. Do they have what they need? You know, or do they have most of what they want or some of what they want? But have I taken care of my responsibilities? Meaning, like, I don't know, say you're going to go out with girlfriends for the evening, right?
They have some food for
you
dinner.
go to a play. Did your kids get fed? You know,
Right.
did they have their jammies out? Or do they have clean things? Is somebody there that they know and trust? You know they're going to be safe. And quite frankly, are they watching a video or playing a video game that they love while you're gone? Who cares?
They don't
Right.
miss you.
No, they don't miss you. Or if you're living with other family members, maybe you're grown and there are no little kids, but you still have obligations to people you share a dwelling with. For example, you know, did I do all my own dishes? Did I set everyone else up here for success? I don't. And the opposite being, I guess the whole point in that is, you're not like, you know what, I'm going to leave that mess over here and I'm going to leave stinky stuff in my room and I'm going to leave because I need to go because I need some me time. Well, you don't burden other people with things so you can have your, and then call it self-care, right?
That's selfish.
That would be selfish, right? Yeah. Or if you're cutting out on your kids, 5 nights a week to go out with the girls,
Too much?
that is selfish. That is taking away from their experience. Do you feel the difference?
Yes.
So you ask yourself, do they have what they need? Have I done what I need to do? Okay, now I'm going to do what I want to do. So have I clearly communicated what I'm doing and why? And that's kind of what we were talking about a minute ago, because we do set up our lives in such a way that cause the stress. And if we look around, we involved a lot of other people generally into that. Whether you're at work and you're the one who takes on all the big projects and they go like, no, I got it. And eventually, so are they producing? No, but why not? Because you've decided to be the hero,
right?
And take them all on. So if you go, I'm not doing it, and they're floundering, you're like, see, no, that's not fair. That's not fair. So clearly say, you know what, I'm having these struggles, or I'm having this epiphany, and I need to create more balance in my life. Here's the steps I'm going to take to do that, and I just want you to understand it's not personal. Like it's not against you. It's so I can be a better person, a better teammate, a better mother, a better daughter, a better friend, and a better me, and so here's what's going to happen, and I just didn't want you to take it personally, not like I'm standing on top of the mountain, I've done all of these things and now I'm through with you people,
right?
That's not going to help anyone.
No.
Yeah.
The last question.
Yes.
No, but I'll start it is, am I getting defensive and attacking?
Yeah.
Usually if you have to justify something, it probably is a selfish move.
Yeah. There's a difference between explaining it clearly and with love and grace, to try to shift the way that the dynamics work, maybe in your house or your job or even in your own mind, and justifying it. That means that clearly you think it's wrong, and so you need to attack. And what we're talking about here, we're dancing around it, is if you ever tried to start a fight just so you can bail and do what you want to do, then you're probably being selfish. That not you being selfish, but that decision to go at that time. Because if you say to someone, hey, you know what, I like the massage thing earlier. Clearly, I need a massage or would like one.
Why?
Yeah, I think that's some self-care I should do. Because it keeps popping up in my mind as an example. So we're going to go with that. If you get a little extra money for whatever reason, you get a bonus at work and you put some aside here and whatever, and you have a little bit more and you're like, it's like $80. So I could get a massage, or I could put it in the kids' college fund. I should save it for a rainy day. The economy is what it is. But I really want to get this done. So if you go to your loved ones and say, you know what, I'm going to go do this. I really need this. I need to release all this tension, and this is just something I need to do for me. And then when I get home, we'll do X, Y, Z for you, or you can go do, you know what I mean? Like it's
clear.
It's a clear, conversation, and or you're opening a dialogue actually. But if you're going out for the fourth night out with your friends, having a few beers, well, you're leaving your spouse to deal with the kids or babysitters, or the kids are like, can I get some help with my homework? And you're like, you know what, I need some me time. Then that you have to create a fight to get out the door. You have to create defensiveness. You have to attack someone else in order to justify the behavior you're doing, right? So that was a really long explanation.
But it was a good one.
I hope
it illustrated that selfishness that we can.
I hope so, because that was my plan.
You did. You did.
You guys know I babble. This isn't unless it's your first video, in which case, welcome to it.
Welcome to it. Welcome. We were glad you're here.
Yeah.
And again, we wanted to let you know there is in the description below that link for that Reduce Your Stress in 1 Week 3-step guide. Really, really a great thing for you. Yeah. Our compliments to you. And again, this is Tara and Roxanne. We are here to calm your mind so you can enjoy your life.
Yes.
Be well.
Thank you.